Hello everyone, welcome back to another video on Chris and Uncensored Japan. Behind me we have what is believed to be the birthplace of Toyotomi Hideyoshi, the second of the three great unifiers. The peasant who became an ashigaru who became a samurai who became a daimyo who avenged his master Oda Nobunaga, and finally became a regent who completed his master's work and laid the foundations for the unification of Japan. So stay tuned as we look into the life of Toyotomi Hideyoshi. Behind me is a depiction of the young Hideyoshi. In his earlier years, he was known as either Kotake or Tokichiro. In my book, I've decided to call him Kotake. It's a depiction of the Nakamura village, which was on the land where the park now stands. Obviously, that's Hideyoshi standing the highest, and his childhood friends who he would have played with. It said that he engaged in mock war games with the villagers, and that's how I decided to start my book, Rise of the Monkey. His father died when he was very young, and due to economic circumstances his mother had to remarry. His stepfather was called Chikaomi, and it appears that Hideyoshi didn't get on very well with him and often suffered physically at his hands. Much of his early childhood is somewhat sketchy. It seems that he left home at some point, became an itinerant beggar. I have him briefly entering the service of one of the Imagawa retainers before getting kicked out, where he finally gets Nobunaga's attention and enters his service. Legend has it initially as a sandal bearer, and from that point he gradually progressed up the ladder. This aspect of his life bears many similarities to that of Napoleon Bonaparte, and the story struck me so much that I decided to write a series of books on Toyotomi Hideyoshi. Hideyoshi had great organizational skills and great loyalty. He was also very much a people person, and he had a certain charisma. Nobunaga quickly saw his skills, and as the social barrier in Japan was very fluid at this time, he quickly rose up the ladder, going from rank to rank. Behind me is the water gourd, which was the symbol of Hideyoshi and was carried on flags before him whenever he went anywhere or went into battle. When Nobunaga was assassinated in 1582 in Kyoto, it was Hideyoshi who quickly acted decisively to avenge his master, but then soon after to take over his master's legacy and pursue his goal of unifying the nation and bringing an end to a period of civil war. In the end, Hideyoshi reached almost the top of power in Japan. He couldn't become shogun due to his lowly pedigree. However, he did finally reach the rank of regent or shiken many years later. The problem was he didn't have a clear line of succession in place. When he passed away in 1598, he only had a 5-year-old son, Hideyori, and the final of the three great unifiers, Tokugawa Ieyasu, was able to take advantage of this situation and make his own play for power, which turned out to be successful. So in the end, there's that parable again. Nobunaga created the ingredients for the cake. Hideyoshi put the cake together, and finally Ieyasu ate the cake. Behind me we have Toyokuni Shrine, dedicated to Hideyoshi's memory. It's also noteworthy that Hideyoshi wasn't the only famous samurai of the period to come from this particular part of Nagoya. Kato Kiyomasa was also a kind of relative of Hideyoshi, and he benefited in his early years from Hideyoshi's patronage into becoming the samurai that he eventually became. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's video on Toyotomi Hideyoshi. If you're interested in learning more about the three unifiers, don't forget to check out my book through the link in the description, as well as the first novel on Hideyoshi called Rise of the Monkey. A link for that also. I'm planning to work on the sequel and make many more books on this interesting character in Japanese history. Thank you so much for watching.